Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Attorney Charles Zavala from Zavala Texas Law. We're an immigration, criminal, and business law firm here in Houston, Texas. We handle cases all over the U.S. Today, I got a video regarding immigration, specifically asylum, right? So, there's new information that has come out in this past week and past 2 weeks that I think is going to be very beneficial for anyone that's kind of keeping up with asylum or wants to know what's going on or what new changes are making. So since the new presidential administration, Joe Biden, has come in, there has been a shift in the policies of immigration. I wouldn't say they're more pro-immigration, but they're not as strict as it was under the Trump administration. So today's video, I want to talk about what has kind of changed in the past 2 weeks and how that's going to affect people. And there's kind of three real main talking points. Forgive me if I'm looking over here at this screen. This is just where I have my notes. So the most important one, and I think is very important, is actually, let me give you a background on what asylum is. Asylum is if you are an immigrant and you are fleeing your country because you fear persecution, death, kidnapping, anything that puts you kind of in fear for your life, you are technically allowed to ask for what's called asylum here in the United States. There's no guarantee you're going to get it. Asylum is very difficult to win because you have very high burden to prove, right? But still, it is a humanitarian relief that is available here in the USA if you are fleeing your country. But like I said, it's very rare that it's given. So I always tell my clients, listen, asylum should kind of be your last option because of the approval rates. I want to say it's a 3 to 4% approval rate. That's not what our office approval rate is. That's just what the national rate is, right? So that's not very high. That means, 97, 96% of these cases get denied. So that's something you should think about. But one of the things that I think is my first talking point is Department of Homeland Security is formally banning separation of families. So in the past years, or when Trump was in the office, you would hear that families that were coming over and getting stopped at the border, the families were being split up, right? Parents were being sent one way, kids were being sent different ways in detention camps, right? And that was creating a problem because a lot of people were saying, listen, these are kids, they need to be with their parents, they're in a new place, they don't know anybody, they're scared. And then there was footage, pictures of these detention camps where they were keeping the kids, and it wasn't ideal conditions, So good news is that they have the Biden administration has officially ended that, and that was as of not this Friday, last Friday. So parents or families that come in are no longer going to be separated, right? And that's great in the sense that, the family will be able to stay intact. That really doesn't mean their case is going to be approved, a higher chance of it being approved or denied. It's just going to keep the families together, and that is important because, there was a lot of issues about these families being separated and then these kids not being able to find their parents, vice versa, right? And that can be very stressful. So I think that's very good news for the immigrant. So they are completely going away with that, which is fantastic. There also another big talking point is during the Trump administration they had created this thing called MPP, which stands for Migration Protection Protocols. Don't worry about what that means. All it means is this: if you are coming from, let's say, Latin America, and you're coming up and you reach the border of Mexico, you were halted there and you had to apply for asylum there, and you were to stay there in Mexico until they approve or deny your asylum. Right? So it was kind of a way of the USA saying, listen, you can apply for asylum, but you're going to apply for it while you're over there in Mexico. We're not going to let you in the United States. Okay? And that was, good for the USA, the Department of Homeland Security, because they're saying, listen, we don't want to take all of this flux of immigrants who, may not show up to their courts. So we're going to keep them there in Mexico, and if their cases get approved, then we'll let them in. But good news is the Biden administration has officially ended that as well. So that means if you are coming, you don't have to stay at the border. You will be able to apply asylum as you normally would. You no longer would have those asylum or the MPP camps at the border, which is another good thing for the migrants, right? Because now not only are they coming in, they're not being separated from their families, they can now apply for asylum the regular way instead of having to wait there in Mexico. So that's another great thing. And lastly, this one isn't I wouldn't say it's good news, but what they're saying is this, if you came in as a family, your case is going to be accelerated, right? So they're going to, the exact words they use, it says the U.S. is to accelerate court cases of migrant families facing deportation. So what I think they're doing is this. Let's say you show up as a family of 4, family of 5, right? Because there's 4 or 5 of you, instead of putting you in the system and your court date, because there's so many backlogs, all that stuff, they're going to try to process you quicker, right? That doesn't mean, like I said, it's not going to be good or bad. Given the national statistics, these cases get denied heavily majority of the time. But I think the reason why the immigration is doing this is just to help get rid of the volume of people that they have, right? So if you come in as a family, they are going to process you kind of quick. They are going to send you to deportation proceedings, and they're going to try to effectively try to process your case quicker so you don't backlog the system. So that's kind of a bad news if you come as a family. But not all they're not doing this everywhere. There's only 10 cities they're doing this in, and I'm going to read them to you. It's Denver, Detroit, El Paso, LA, Miami, Newark, New York City, San Diego, San Francisco, and Seattle. Okay, so if you're in one of those 10 cities, and chances are they're probably going to do family deportations a little quicker. I was surprised I didn't see Houston on there, because we're here in Houston. Houston's an enormous city. We have a giant migrant population, and we have 3 immigration courts because we have a heavy backlog of immigration, right? So I was surprised not to see that. Let me see. So yeah, what they're trying to say is under this new program, they are trying to issue a decision whether you can stay within 1 year, 300 days, right? So that's pretty quick. Normally, most cases, immigration cases right now are taking a long time, which could be good for the immigrant because it buys them more time here. But if you come in a family, it looks like they're going to handle these a little bit quicker. But those are my updates when it comes to asylum. You know, asylum's always changing. It's a very hot topic right now because of the situation right now in Latin America. I think our Vice President Kamala Harris recently visited one of those countries to talk about asylum, right? So this is just what's going on right now. So the main 3 points we should take, 2 of them are good, 1 of them not so much. The one good is that families are no longer going to be separated. That's great. Second one is you no longer have to wait in the border towns while you're applying for asylum. That's great. The one that's not so great is if you come in on this family, they're going to try to expedite your case under 1 year. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If this affects you, anyone you know, feel free to give us a call. I'm more than happy to help. My name is Charles Zavala. Give us a call. We can give you an appointment. All appointments are going to be with me personally, so feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to help anybody, okay? Thank you and have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.